Welcome to the second series of Got a Form for That. This sequence of 8 sessions will take us through the 4 panels or sections of the Foundation Stone meditation given by Rudolf Steiner to the General Anthroposophical Society during the first 8 of the 12 Holy Nights at the 1923-24 Christmas meeting. He gave this profound meditation to all human souls who take it into their hearts. Out of the forces of this foundation stone was to grow this spiritual edifice of the General Anthroposophical Society. After the tragic burning of the first Goetheanum in Dornach, Switzerland, Friedrich Wilhelm Zeilmans van Eimenhoven, an anthroposophist and Dutch psychiatrist, writes in his book, The Foundation Stone, the whole of anthroposophy perished through a fiery death when the first Goetheanum was burned, and it was reborn in the Foundation Stone meditation. He wrote that around 1962. Here we are, living in challenging, even disturbing times. So I want to contribute what I can to the world. Someone else could bring the meditation to you much more eloquently than I am able to do. But I don't know of anyone else who can bring you the forms that depict this beautiful meditation in spiritual script. So first, I will read the part 1 of panel 1 to you in English, so you know the meaning if you are an English speaker. And then I am going to read it in Steiner's German language and his words, because of course he was the one who brought this to the world and he spoke German. My German, I apologize for, it's not, perfectly spoken, but I want to bring the German because the consonants of German carry a formative and sculptural power that English cannot really convey. So for English, I read the meaning, and in the German, I'm reading for the consonants. So we'll do that, and then I will show you the first form. There are 2 forms for each panel, for each of the 4 panels, which is why we have 8 sessions. So today I will bring you the form for part 1 of the first panel. Human soul, you live within the limbs which bear you through the world of space, into the spirit's ocean being. Practice spirit recalling in depths of soul, where in the wielding world creator being, your own I comes into being in the eye of God, and you will truly live in human world all being. Menschenseele, du lebst in den Gliedern, die dich durch die Raumswelt in das Geistesmeereswesen tragen. Über Geist erinnern in Seelentiefen, wo in waltendem Weltenschöpfersein das eigene Ich im Gottes-Ich erweset. Und du wirst wahrhaft leben im Menschen-Welten-Wesen. All right, and now we will draw the form together. I have the form already drawn here, and once I uncover it, you'll probably see why I covered it up. It is a very unusual form. The other forms that are in the Foundation Stone meditation work are not of this style. the form, while being balanced, is anything but symmetrical. So it will be an unusual experience for us to do this. You'll need a piece of paper and a graphite pencil and your blue colored pencil. We will be drawing this in blue as we did in our first series of Goetheanum for that. So I will unveil the form, and then I will go through the process of drawing it again with you. So here it is. The blue part is the form. And if you recall the sense of that first part of panel 1 that I just read, it's really speaking about the beginning of creation. And so we can imagine this kind of chaos out of which the gods will bring order. So here we have, in a way, a picture of these swimming forces. And so the form is just very unusual, but beautiful in its own right. Okay, so I'm going to leave that up so that you can refer to it, but I'm also going to go through the process of drawing the form with you, which I'll do over here. So as you can see, we have an oval for our seal. So let's do a nice big oval. You'll want to have your paper on a landscape orientation, not landscape, portrait orientation rather than landscape. Now I've divided the form into quadrants over here, which we'll do here too, so that we can just have a sort of orientation for some of these curves and lines. So you may use your ruler, if you like, to draw a nice straight line down the center of your oval. And then we'll also draw a horizontal line across. Right across the center. I'm using orange so it will show up against the blue that I'm using to draw the form. All right. So the way I'm going to take you through drawing the form is not exactly the way that these indications are for tracing. So what's in orange here as 1 and 2, 3, and 4, that's the direction and the order of the line. And I think we'll draw them in the same order, but the direction of the line, we may not draw as it's shown here because it's easier to draw it in a different way. Okay, so we're going to be drawing this little form here first. See that one? I'll help you pick out these, these shapes. So here's this one. And as you can see, the point here that this comes down, and it's like right on that line. It's about the center of the line. And nothing is exact in this form either, so don't feel that you have to get it exact. Okay, and then we're going to make another dot down here and another one here. Now, this line here sort of follows the curve. Well, it does. It follows the curve of the oval, but you want to make sure that you have it far enough in so you can include this little point here that comes outside of it, but doesn't touch the oval. So we have that part, and now we're going to need to bring down the loop, or bring the loop over into that other quadrant, and it will cross down here. So you could draw yourself some more orienting dots if you want to. Now see how this comes down along the side of that center line. So we draw that and then cross here. And we come out, not too far over, but more than halfway across that quadrant for the loop, and then come back here or so. All right, so we're going to bring this down and move towards that dot that we made. And then bring this loop over here like that. Now we're crossing that center line, and now we're going to come down and meet this shape here. Okay, now I would like to have my line a little bit more curved. It should be about the same as this curve here. So I'm just going to work with that a little bit. And then that's acceptable. I can work with that. All right, so we have one inner line done, and then we just have two more. Sounds simple. Okay, so the third line would be traced this way, and I'll just kind of show you where that is with my finger. Follow that with your eye. And then there's this sort of fish loop and another fish loop. And then we make a third fish loop up here. I'm just calling them fish loops because they're pointy and they look a little bit like a fish. So, but instead of doing it this way, I think it's easier to draw it actually coming like this down here. So we're going to make our point right there, right between those two lines. Okay, that's this point right there. And then the line is going to cross above the bottom of that loop. See, that loop is there, and this line, oh, well, it does that. I said I was going to take you this direction, and now I'm taking you this direction. Pardon me. So, but you can make a little mark there because we'll get there eventually. Okay, and now I want to bring you down here to that part, and that is, say about right there. Okay, so we're going to curve up and then go swooping down and cross about that point. So curve up a little bit and come straight down and then curve to the left. Okay, so we've got this line here so far. And see how this line is not inside the loop, so don't bring it over here. All right, just stay to the right of that loop. Okay. Now, this line has to go close to the side there, so I'll make a little dot to guide myself. There. And now it comes up and down and over. So we have kind of an S shape going on here. It's going to cross about right there. And let's make ourselves a dot over here. Right there. So this line is going to go like that. This. So you might want to draw it with your finger first. It's so that your finger knows where to go, or your pencil knows where to go. And you should be using a graphite pencil at this point. So you can erase easily. Wait for the color for later. All right, and now here we're going to bring this loop and close it just before we get to that vertical line. So we've closed the loop right here just before we get to that line. And now we're going to make this sweeping vertical line and come back, cross over. It's a sweeping vertical line. We cross horizontally and come back to that original point. So we're going to be going up. We come into this loop and we cross at this point that we made earlier. I just dropped my chalk. Let's see. I'll use this one. Okay. So sweeping up and over and up again to where we ended. So now let's trace over the line the way that it is supposed to be traced. Let's just look at that again, because this is much more complicated than the first line that we drew. Okay, so that is the way that we drew it. And then the way one would trace it is we'd come down like this. Swing over here with another fish, and then back like that. Okay, we have 2 of the lines drawn, and we just have 1 to go. Okay, so this line, this last line, we leave for last. Well, because it was indicated that we should leave it for last, and there may be a really good reason for that, and I think it might be that it's easier to draw it at this point than earlier, because this line comes between this part of that form or shape and this part, so it's right in the middle there. Okay, so it kind of, that space, this space kind of guides us. All right, so let's do that. Let's just start here and bring the line right through the middle. There. Now, notice that we're going to make a big fish right here. This horizontal line can act as a kind of, the surface of the ocean for that fish if you want. That might help. Okay, so we've come from here, we've come right through the middle. Beyond that, we've crossed this vertical line here before we get to our orange vertical line. And then we bring this almost up to the horizontal, or it could even be touching, it's okay. And we bring that through this fish. Now we're going to be making a little tiny loop here, and notice that the loop does not touch either of the other loops. It's held between them. So that's what we're doing right in here. We come up through here, make this tiny loop. Yeah, and then we cross that vertical sweeping line that we made before, and then come right back to where we were. And we're done. So for the work with this form is similar to working with other forms I've shown you. We can draw the form and trace it in the order given here, this in blue, in a blue that doesn't have a lot of green in it. Kind of the blue of my blouse, I'm just noticing. So we'll do the oval first. And then we draw this line, or trace this line. Just in that way. And then the tracing of this third one, we do this way. So this line sweeps down, and we come over for this fish, over for that fish, up and back where we began. Then we can start here, just where we drew this line. We'll do it just the same way. Oops. Stay on the line. Come through here. Make our miniature loop. When we cross through this, this is the only fish that has, an intersecting lines. We are done. And then you will probably want to erase your planning lines. Because that's not part of the form. It's just helping us to keep our lines and loops where they're supposed to be. So when you work with the form is an expression of that part one of the first panel. And you may want to say the verse to yourself and then draw the form or trace the form. And you would trace the form 3 times in the morning and 3 times in the evening, same indication as ever. And then possibly trace the form, and then maybe you will want to say the meditation again. But these are just suggestions. It's a way of working with the meditation and the form. There are certainly many other valid ways of working with that. So you might want to do a meditation, in the morning and leave the form for the evening. It really is something that is very personal, and I'm leaving that up to you, of course. And I hope that you really enjoy working with the form. I find it very freeing. It's a very different kind of form. So I hope you enjoy that too. All right. Now I would like to read the German one more time. I would like to read the German one more time. And then I will also read the English. Menschenseele, du lebst in den Gliedern, die dich durch die Raumesfeld in das geistig Meeres Wesen tragen. Über Geisterinnen in Seelentiefen, wo in waltendem Weltenschöpfersein das eigene Ich im Gottes-Ich erweset. Und die wirst wehrhaft leben im Menschenweltenwesen. Human soul, you live within the limbs which bear you through the world of space, into the spirit's ocean being. Practice spirit recalling in depths of soul, where in the wielding world creator being, your own I comes into being in the eye of God, and you will truly live in human world all being. Thank you for joining me today. Next time, we will do the form that is the form for part 2 of the first panel of the Foundation Stone meditation.